There's been a lot of talk about who's the best team in the country. Is there a clear-cut number one? Which teams are best built for March? What team's the national title favorite? In this video, we're going to go through 5 teams that are best built to make a run to the Final Four and cut down the nets in Indianapolis. To start us off, you guys guessed it, we have the Michigan Wolverines. Currently the number 2 team in the country. They're led by potential National Player of the Year, Yaxel Lendeborg, and Elliot Cadeau mans the point guard position, and he's looked like a true floor general for this Wolverines squad. Now this team, I've said it time and time again, looks like a well-oiled machine. Their front court is probably the best in the country with Adai-Mara, Merez Johnson, and Lendeborg, and then the guard play is just deep. They're deep. That's the best way to put it with Cadeau, Burnett, McKinney, Kaysen, Roddy Gale. It looks like the best December team I've ever watched, and it's crazy to say because they're not even ranked number 1 in the country, but everyone they play, they are destroying. Destroying Gonzaga, destroying Auburn, destroying at Maryland, Villanova. They look like they are Goliath, and they are Goliath, and every team they play looks like David. So if we're going to talk about the team that is best built to make a deep run into March and to potentially cut down the nets in Indianapolis, I have to start with the Michigan Wolverines. And I think that's a general consensus around college basketball that this team is built to make a run. The next team that I think can potentially make a run deep into March was a sleeper to start the year. They're not a sleeper anymore. They're sitting at 11-0 currently, coming off a big win at Illinois on a Jamarcus Lawrence game-winning 3. You guys guessed it, it's Nebraska ball. They're led by a bunch of veterans. They got some transfers. Price Sanford went off the other night. This team can shoot. They can defend. They pass the ball. They are well coached by Hoiberg. This team looks like they can finish top 5 in the Big Ten and make an Elite 8 Final Four run. Now, can they win the whole thing? Who knows? I think it's a little too early to be seen. But if we want to talk about teams that are built well to make a run in March Madness, it's hard to leave off Nebraska. And obviously, you could talk about the 5 teams that are best built to make a run in March, and you could just list off 5 of the top 6 or 7 teams. But if we want to talk about teams that are at the top, but also some teams that people aren't really talking about that can make a run, we have to add Nebraska. I don't think anyone thought they were going to win that game at Illinois. They were 11-point underdogs, and they got it done. They looked like the better team all day, and quite frankly, they probably are the better team. So with that being said, this Nebraska team looks like Hoiberg's best built team that can potentially make a run deep into March Madness. At number 3, we have the Houston Cougars, led by Kelvin Sampson. This team has come close in years past. They made it to the national championship and came this close against Florida last year. I think this is the year that they can get over the hump. We talked about Michigan previously. I think this is the team that can hang with Michigan, defend them, and I don't want to say run them out of the gym, but they have the talent to do so. You have the freshman duo of Kingston Flemings and Chris Senack, and you have the veterans of Emmanuel Sharp, Milos Uzan, and JoJo Tugler to round out their starting 5. Kelvin Sampson is undoubtedly one of the best coaches in the country, and it feels like year in and year out, he has a team that can make a deep run into March. Do you guys think Houston can make that deep run into the Final Four and potentially cut down the nets? Now, I feel like it would be a disservice to not include the UConn Huskies, the team that has slowly become a dynasty, winning 2 championships in the last 3 years, a team that has probably the best coach in the country. They have experience with Solo Ball, Alex Caravan, Terrace Reed, and then they have star freshmen with Braylon Mullins, they have Eric Ryba, and they're deep. They are deep. Malachi Smith, you have Jalen Stewart, you got Reed. This team looks like they are back. Not that they were ever gone, but last year was a down year. We all know that. But they not only brought back the majority of their team, they reloaded. And as long as Dan Hurley's there, we know they can make a deep run into March, and you cannot count them out. I am very high on the Huskies this year. I think a lot of people are. I think they're going to run through the Big East, and I think they will set themselves up well in the East region to make that deep run into March and make it to Indianapolis. And the last team on this list, a team that I don't think a lot of people were too high on going into the year, a young team with some good veterans, but a young team led by a star freshman duo of Darius Acuff and Malik Thomas. John Calipari is leading the Razorbacks to a great start to the year. They just beat Texas Tech. They have Houston this Saturday. This team is deep. They have good bench pieces. The talent on this team is undeniable. They are a very real threat to win the SEC. And I think if they can get a top 3 seed in March, which is very plausible, that they can make that run. We saw John Calipari do it at Kentucky. These freshmen that he has don't play like freshmen. Darius Acuff plays like he is a junior or senior. He's going to be a top 10 pick. And I think this team, if they can just put it all together, and I think they're starting to already, which is scary because it's December. And a lot of times Calipari's teams don't do that until February or March. I think this team can make a deep run. If they can get that top 3 seed in the Midwest or out West, wherever it is, Calipari's got the experience. He has the veterans like DJ Wagner, Trevon Brazile. He has guys that can, you always talk about when you envision a team winning it all, they need that go-to guy. They have multiple of those, and that's scary. And that's what's holding me back with some of these other teams that I think can't make a deep run. Arkansas has a lot of those guys that if you need to go get a bucket, they have 1, 2, 3, 4 that can just go get a bucket. And that's scary come March. If they can defend, if they can play how they're supposed to, this team is scary. I'm telling you now, this team can make a deep run into March. So let me know what you guys think about these 5 teams that can make a deep run into March. I'm not saying they're the 5 most qualified teams to make a deep run, but I think if you want to talk about 5 teams that have all the tools to do so, that are well coached, I find it hard to not include these 5 teams. And obviously you have Arizona, you have Duke, you have Purdue. I'm aware of all that. I'm just talking about 5 teams that I think can do it. And I wanted to include some of the really, really good teams, like obviously we had UConn, Houston, Michigan. But I also wanted to include a few that I don't think people are talking about much that can make that deep run into March, like Arkansas and Nebraska. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know who you think I may have left off, who I maybe shouldn't have included. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. CBB Today. Peace.